Sometimes one person is happy, the other person becomes happy. And sometimes one person is sad, the other person becomes sad. You have noticed this phenomena, right? This is common. But it doesn't mean that anybody becomes happy, that everybody becomes happy. There are sometimes people in connection. You know, there's that deep unconscious connection that you can't explain, and when you feel it, and it appears like at that moment, when one person does something, the other person just follows, right? Some of it is mirror neurons. See, the thing about mirror neurons, it is mirror neurons. And it is a choice whether to allow the mirror neurons or not. So one of the things, mirror neurons means, as she said, monkeys throw a banana, then another monkey would throw a banana, okay, or anything that's in its hand. Those are called mirror neurons, and they found out that mirror neurons exist in humans as well. Earlier they found out there were a tiny bit of mirror neurons, but later they found out there are lots of mirror neurons. And these days neurologists, in fact the neurologist told me this. He said that in humans the mirror neurons are so evolved that as soon as somebody lifts their hand like this, immediately your brain sends you instructions to lift your hand like this. Okay? But the very next microsecond, you get a second set of instruction that goes saying, hey, it's the other person's hand, not yours. And so, we all behave sanely by not doing everything that other people do. So, the process of mirroring happens first, and then the decision of should we follow that or not. But at a deep unconscious level, a decision is nevertheless made, whether to follow that response or not. And sometimes this is also followed at a very crossover level. So which is different from mirror neurons, because what happens is somebody is tapping their hand and the other person is tapping their feet. Okay, but at the same rhythm. Like I tap my leg and you nod your head. At the same rhythm. Then I know we are in unconscious rapport. Some of you are not nodding the head, but some of your breathing suddenly changed. Or if I slow down my voice now, you may notice that it impacts your breathing. If it does, then it means that we are in unconscious rapport. So unconscious rapport can exist at a crossover level, at a mirror neuron level, at a variety of levels, but nevertheless it's a choice you're making whether you want to follow that other person or not. Right? So you all have experienced that phenomena where two people have made that choice to follow each other. One person is following another person or more people. And until now, you may not have given a thought to how do you make this happen on demand by choice. But if I told you that there is this magic wand that you can go and get, and if you take the magic wand and if you do this, you can instantly build this unconscious rapport. Would you like to get that magic wand?
We do.
What would you do with that wand?
Improve sleep. So that will be more attention.
And what else? What will you do with it in your life outside of this?
Apply on your boss.
Apply it back on your boss. You see, the thing, I'm going to tell you today that this wand exists. Okay? But it may not be useful the way you think it is useful. Let's assume mirror neurons work the way I'm saying it is, and you have this one, and I give it to you. And you do this, and both of you get deeply into unconscious rapport. And then, you go to your boss, and you're thinking, he should agree to whatever I'm saying. And what does the boss think? He should agree to whatever I'm saying. This is how unconscious rapport works. Whatever you think, the other person thinks the same. The same emotions. So you go to your boss and you're super happy about your work. The boss will be also super happy about your work. But you go to your boss, you're super happy about your work, and then you think about how much recognition does this deserve? And if you're an unconscious rapport, the boss also follows. So can two people who are fighting with each other be in unconscious rapport? Absolutely. In fact, they're copying each other perfectly. Okay. So that's how unconscious rapport works. Now, so assuming that this is how it works, do you still want that magic wand? Okay, she's going no. But you can use it only when you want to. Will you still want it? This is yes. This is. Sometimes, but so if you don't have it, you can't use it sometimes. If you have it, you can use it when you want it. Okay. Every behavior is driven by emotions. Some of you recognize that. Some of you have to recognize that. See, the thing is, let's say I want to sell you something. Okay, anything, an idea, a concept, a new behavior. What gets somebody to buy things from you? They have to want to buy it. So you know that emotion that's attached to want? Like there is some of these sales courses where they give you a stone and they tell you go sell this and come back. I'm serious, you have it in Delhi as well. And in fact that's the prerequisite for attending the course. And which means, so what people do is they go and they attach special feelings to the stone, and then suddenly people are willing to, regular stone, things that you can pick outside, and suddenly people are willing to pay 5,000 for that stone. People do that. In fact, I think they give you a time limit. They say within 2 hours go and sell it and come back. And some people get 200 rupees, some people get 2,000 rupees. But if you notice what they did, all of them somehow added an emotion to that stone. Okay, no matter what you're selling, a car, an idea, a package, a vacation, the concept, a new concept within your family, outside your family, profession, whatever it is, when you're communicating an idea, when you're selling that idea to someone, what makes them buy that decision is the emotion that is attached to it. Right? If you make something pleasurable to do, people will do it. If you make something painful to not do, people will stop doing that. Okay. Now, every behavior, let's say somebody wants to smoke and they have this urge to smoke. So I would say that the emotion that is coming in the way of them not smoking is that urge, the desire that builds up just before they smoke, right? That desire. So they think, oh, let's stop. But then there's another emotion that builds up over time, and that emotion is more intense than that emotion of let's not smoke. And then they end up smoking. So you could attribute almost every behavior at any given point in time that a person does to a specific emotion or a state of mind. Somebody wants to wake up in the morning and go to the gym, and then that's one emotion in them. They're looking at themselves, being slim, and they're like, oh, that looks nice. And then another emotion is like, let's just enjoy the comfort of the bed. And which one will win? The one that is more intense, right? And sometimes the intensity changes with time too, Some people, they're like, okay, let's wake up, oh, I have half an hour, but I will be late. Late is this big, sleepiness is this big. And then 10 minutes before time, it's this big. And then 5 minutes before they're about to be late, it's this big. Suddenly they get up out of the bed. Right? So emotions, the intensity of emotion drives every behavior. Now what you can really do with this magic wand, assuming you learn how to get it, assuming you want it and you are putting the efforts and paying the price necessary to get that magic wand, is that when you swing the magic wand like this, people will immediately follow you and your emotions. So that's the one that is in sale right now. It's like you do this and then you have this deep emotional connect. Whatever you feel, the other person will feel with you. Let's assume that somebody is screaming at you for no reason, and you make that magic connection. Once you make that magic connection, all you need to do after you make the connection, okay? Before you make the connection, if you calm down, then they might just get more angry. But let's say you made that connection. And after you made that connection, then if you calm down, then the other person will calm down with you. Okay, so that's the one that we're talking about. We're talking about some tool that if you have, whatever emotion you bring in you, the other person will follow. Now, there is no positive, negative emotion. Okay, there is only what emotion is useful for what context. Like a person came to me with this son, and the son, I had 30 minutes, I wasn't supposed to be doing anything that day. But the father said, you'll have to just see my son. So I said, okay. But when the son came in over there, this guy was, talking about all kinds of crazy things. He said, my life is awesome, I can't live, I have to die. And you know, my mother, no, I'm not of any use to anybody. You know, my girlfriend hates me, and father's like going angry when he doesn't care. He said, my father thinks I'm useless, blah, 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 you know, whole set of rubbish. And I'm looking at my watch, and I have 15 more minutes, and if I leave this guy like this, I'm afraid he would go and do something. And I instantly want him to have that desire to live. So I swing my magic wire there. And then I become extremely angry at him. I tell him, don't waste my time. Just get out of here. Of course, you don't deserve to live. And for a moment, that guy is stunned. He gets super angry with me. Now, I said it in a very angry tone, by the way. I said, just get out of here. Don't ever waste my time. You don't. Yeah, you're right. So why are you coming here and being a misery to your father and wasting my time? And very angry. Okay, the guy gets up and angry. Like, how can you say that to me? You know, my mother, I will take care of the entire family. You know, I was a very bright child when I was young. And okay, so Swami has that desire to live. Okay, then I use the other NLP tools to make sure that is sequenced properly so that he fires these states automatically. Now, the other way to do is, you know, oh son, you're very, very, very good. And then in fact, his father was doing that. And the more the father said you're very, very good, he would go like, ah! But I had to fire the anger in him to get him to want to change in the first place. So unconscious rapport doesn't mean you swing this one and then magically things will fall in place. It means if you swing this one, you have the opportunity to lead somebody into the emotions you want them to be. Okay, sometimes it's anger, sometimes it's peace, sometimes it's calm, sometimes it's super excitement, sometimes it's a wanton desire, sometimes it's pleasure, sometimes it's calmness. So what I want you to do today, you know, by the way, assuming this magic wand exists and it's available for sale in the shop, how much would you be willing to pay for it? Who said everything? Okay, how much would you be willing to pay for it, the rest of it? Tell me. Whatever you last, okay.
And then use the one to get it back.
Use the one to get it back, yeah, that's a lovely thing to do. I know, if that works, why not use the one to get it back? Right. Now, so you recognize the importance of the one, right? You recognize it's priceless. You pay whatever it is for. Now, let me ask you one more question. If, just if, the wand is given by a priest or some saint who you believe can give it to you, and the priest says, you have to work 6 hours very hard and you have to go and climb this mountain just once in your life. And if you do it, you climb that mountain for 10 days, and if you fast for 20 days, you will get this wand. And you believe you can get it. Will you still put in that efforts to get the wand? Yeah? Maybe for him. What about the rest of you?
Yes.
Absolutely, right? If it's one-time effort, you would go into it. Now, this is the deal. I'm going to give you this wand because I have it and I can replicate it and I can give it to you. But it's not going to be easy. Okay? I'm not saying it's easy, but I'll also tell you and show you what you need to do in order to get hold of it. Would you commit to doing whatever I ask you to do? It's not going to be a journey, it's not going to be a trek. It's going to be simpler than that, but you're willing to put that effort? Yes. Okay, fantastic. In NLP, we call this unconscious rapport. We call this getting into unconscious rapport with each other. And before I show you how to get this one, I want to first teach you how to use it well. Okay, so that you don't just have the wand and then you go and think, oh, magically things will happen. But I want you to first recognize what are the situations in your life where you're going to use this one. Okay, so what we'll do is, I think it's time for a small pause. It's 10:48. So we'll just take a quick pause, okay, 10-minute pause. When you come back, I'll discuss with you how to use this one. You can discover situations in your life, how you can use it. And then I'll share with you simple techniques that can help you get it. Okay, if you have unconscious rapport, you now know that this is the emotion that you need to go into for the other person to follow that, right? So unconscious rapport works like this. You go into that emotion, then the other person follows. Okay, so desired emotion, this is you, this is the other person. Now you have identified the desired emotion. Assuming there is this, what I call unconscious rapport, if you bring about the desired emotion, it transfers to that person. Okay? Are we all clear on this so far? Okay, so what I'm proposing here is unconscious rapport. It's a little different from the dictionary word rapport in English. I'm not talking about a long-term relationship. So we're not talking about rapport in the sense of English word rapport. When I'm using the word unconscious rapport, I'm talking about a momentary advantage, a momentary connect at that moment, where whatever emotion that you go through becomes the emotion of that other person. What I want you to do today, this afternoon, before lunch, is I want you to verify whether this is true by yourself. Okay? So I'm going to propose an exercise that you're going to do with each other. And the purpose of that exercise is just to verify this phenomenon. Does this happen or not? It's not that you would go and do exactly that in your office or in your workplace, although there are variations of that that you can do. But for now, because you're going to be investing a lot of effort in building up this unconscious rapport. So when you do invest that effort and time and attention and resources, I want you to be absolutely sure that unconscious rapport works exactly the way I'm proposing to you it works. Okay? So what we're going to do right now is an activity for you to verify this. Okay? But when you're doing this activity, I want you to do it from a mindset that it works that way. Okay? So there are two ways you can do this activity. One, will it work? And then instead of focusing on the task involved, your attention is somewhere else. The other way to do the activity is, okay, let's find out. Let me empty my mind, empty the thoughts. Let me put my full attention into this because I know it works. And then after the activity is over, you retrospect. Then is the time to analyze. Okay, did it work? How did it work? Okay. We're gonna verify, we're gonna watch with our eyes that this exercise, this unconscious rapport works exactly as I say it does. So I'm going to propose an activity. You see, one of the things is that you remember someone told you here that when two people are copying each other, they're actually doing it because their internal wavelength or thought patterns are so aligned. So in India, we've known that for a long time, that your breathing, your physiology, all of that is connected to how you feel, how you think, and you change one at the moment, the other changes automatically. So it's not connected one way, it's connected both ways. Now, what we're going to do is we're going to do a small exercise where you're going to validate unconscious rapport using breathing as an indicator. What that means is this. We're going to go and get into groups of three, A, B, and C. A is going to indulge himself or herself in some nice activity. Okay, like reading a book or playing with your mobile or doing something where your eyes are open. So A is going to just indulge in some activity, and possibly sitting like this. B is going to sit in this angle, not necessarily in front of A, but somewhere in A's vicinity. A is occupied reading or doing something. B is now going to breathe exactly like A, which means when A breathes in, B is going to breathe in. A breathes out, B is going to breathe out. Now some of you might want to do this by looking at how the pattern in which A is breathing and then replicate it. That's the wrong way to do it. Don't do it that way. What you do is when A breathes in, you breathe in along. When A breathes out, you breathe out along. Okay, so you're not analyzing a pattern and then following, you're just starting. Okay, now I'll show you how to observe how people breathe. It's not difficult. Okay, we'll get there in just a minute. But you understand the activity? This is the first part of the activity. In NLP terms, you call that pacing. You call that mirroring. Okay, what that means is that you are becoming the other person, literally. When you copy part of their behavior, you're actually copying all of it because it's connected. Now, you understood the first part of the activity? Now, the second part of the activity goes like this. You've established a connection. You're breathing like that person for some time. You're breathing in when they're breathing in. You're breathing out when they're breathing out. You establish that rhythm. You've established that, the same ups and downs. You've copied that breathing for a while. Then, what you're going to do is this. You're going to make your breathing faster or slower as B. So B is breathing exactly like A for a while, and then B is now changing it. B is making it a little faster or making it a little slower. And I want you to observe what impact does that have on A. Although A is not consciously aware of this shift. Okay, so A breathes in, breathes out, occupied with something else. B is breathing like A, and then breathe, changes the breathing, and notices what impact does that have on A. What is the role of C?
Observe the impact of B.
Yes, C is going to do two things, three important things. Observe, first, whether B was successful in breathing exactly like A. Second, did B initiate a change? Third, when the change was initiated, did A reciprocate? If C is smart, C can also go and further look at what are the other parts of the ongoing experience that are being paced and led. So you're watching breathing, but what about the postures? What about tapping of the feet? What about playing with those fingers? What about blinking of the eye? Is other parts of the equations being copied as well? Okay, so but that's optional. Whatever C can observe is good enough. So you understand the steps of the activity? It's very simple. A is breathing in, breathing out, and focus on some activity. B is breathing along. C is watching. B, after breathing out for a while, changes his or her breathing rate and notices how it changes the breathing of A. Okay. Now, I'm going to share with you how to watch someone's breathing. Okay, it's very simple. Now, the wrong way to do that is, go and stare like that. You see, they're designed neurologically to be able to watch minor movements easily. Okay, it's by design, so you don't have to learn to do anything new. Because you see, when you're looking at me, if somebody runs in the corner, and even if you can't hear the sound, you naturally tend to look there, right? Why does that happen? How does that happen?
Because there's a part of you, which is beneath the conscious awareness, which is really taking in everything that's going around you.
Absolutely. So there's conscious awareness, there's unconscious awareness. Conscious awareness, Miller said that your conscious awareness is limited to 7 plus up to minus 2 chunks, which means there's some things you're conscious about, and everything else is outside your conscious awareness. For example, there's a pressure of your feet on the floor. There's a sound from the AC. Now, these are things that you didn't pay attention to consciously, but they're impacting your behavior. Like if the pressure on your feet begins to increase, then your brain says, oh, now it's time to shift position, and it brings to your conscious awareness. Which means you're aware of it at a much deeper level, at a much outside your awareness conscious level, but you're aware of it. Unconscious awareness. That's why sometimes when you're sleeping, there could be all kinds of noise in the building, and you can sleep peacefully. But everything is silent, and there's a suspicious noise. And you wake up. You become conscious of what you were unconscious a moments ago. So there's unconscious awareness, there's conscious awareness. Now, when somebody runs in your side like that, your unconscious awareness is aware that there is somebody running. And it brings it to your conscious attention. So you shift. Okay, because the brain thinks, oh, this must be important, let's bring it to their conscious attention. But nevertheless, that information is going in at an unconscious level, right? Which means you have the capability to watch movements, even if they're happening very far away. That's already there. But it's at an unconscious level of awareness, because the brain thinks it may not be important for you always. You see, the center of your eye is built with the physiology necessary for you to pay attention to details, like the color, like the texture. The corner of the eye, it's called the peripheral, is built with the ability to notice movements. Okay, so the corner of the eye, by design, by shape, the purpose of this is to watch movements. So all you need to do to be able to watch how someone is breathing is utilize your peripheral vision to become aware consciously of their breathing. Okay. Now there are some techniques to do that. I'll share them with you. For example, let's assume I'm looking straight into his eyes. Now my full attention is in his eye. But then if I change the attention from his eye and I look through the eye, behind his head, what I'm doing is I'm defocusing my eyes. Okay. And what that allows me to do is it allows me to look at everything around him. Okay, so I'm fully watching him from top to toe and not just his eye, although I'm looking straight into his eye. And that allows me to know that he's breathing in at the moment, and breathing out, and breathing in, and out. It also lets me know that the lady sitting next to him is breathing out and in, out, and in. Oh, they're breathing at the same time. And they are in unconscious rapport. Okay. So, was it accurate? Okay, so what did I do? All I did is I looked into his eye, and then I looked behind, I looked through the eye, and when I defocus the eye in that way, the peripherals open up, which means you notice the full movement in the person. So you notice the shoulders move up, you notice the minor twitch in their muscles, you notice everything. Okay, now let me give you a demonstration of peripheral vision. So what I want you to do is, I want you to look straight ahead at some point out of view. Okay, and as you continue to watch there, I want you to do the following. I want you to empty your mind. I want you to keep your eyes as relaxed as you can. I want you to focus on that point. And as you focus, I want you to empty your thoughts. All your thoughts. Lower the volume inside. Make that picture small. Push it away. Empty it. Just empty your mind. And as you continue to watch forward and focus on that point, you can remember to blink. Keep your eyes comfortable. But you will also become aware now that you're able to see what is there to your left and to your right. It is as if your vision is expanding. So the more you focus on this point, the more you remember to blink and empty your mind, the more you're becoming aware of the people to your left and the people to your right. And the more you do that, the more your vision seems to expand. And maybe you're beginning to notice some movements, the movement of the people around you, maybe their head nodding, maybe their shoulders moving, or maybe the minor sways in their body. But as you continue further, to just look at this point and empty your mind fully. And focus. The more you do that, the more you're aware of what is to your left and to your right. And that vision is expanding, and you're aware of more and more things. Okay, so did you become aware of people around you and how they move when you did what I just asked you to do? Okay, and when you did that, did you remember to keep your eyes comfortable? Yeah, remember, because peripheral vision doesn't mean strain. Yeah, that's not the idea. What you do is you just relax. Remember, you've been doing this all your life. At an unconscious level, you are always aware of things that are moving. All that you're teaching your brain now to do is bring it to your conscious attention and awareness. So, get started with your partners A, B, and C. A, just indulge yourself in something amazing, like reading this manual. Oh, you could collect the manual, just sign your name if taken. And B, remember to breathe like A when you're breathing in and breathe out. It's the first step. Second step is once you've established that rapport, once you feel you're connected, shift your breathing, breathe faster or slower. And third step, observe how does that impact A for that moment. Next round. And I recommend you find different partners each time you go.